WESWES, y'all.
That's my sister's son. It's Liza's
What?
boy,
Hey.
yeah, Clement. So yeah, he's the second eldest. And it's
Clement, where's that name from? Where's that name from, Clement?
it's from the Bible. It's in Philippians, I think. Yeah. So he's named after my dad.
Oh, yeah.
His namesake.
No.
The man's the chosen one.
Pita, eh? That's the hard name, Pita.
Pita. So that's what Felidi always calls me. Pita.
Gotta keep it real, man.
So it's good.
Now, this is like this will be the first episode for 2023.
Oh,
So happy to have you here, William. Happy to have you here on the podcast. First guest for 2023.
wow. Jeez. That's
And the second day too. How was your Christmas anyway?
yeah, it was good. It
Yeah.
was good, eh? Yeah, it was just family. Family's good to be in the city.
Yeah.
Good to be home, eh? Yeah, I think that's probably been the main thing. Heaps of eating, bro.
Yeah. Hard. You guys heaps of leftovers? Because the thing is with leftovers, especially Christmas Day, no one's going to take it home because everyone's got their own leftovers, huh?
That's true. Heaps of leftovers. The fun
Sure,
thing is
what's
the
some more
leftovers
too,
end
eh?
up becoming, you have the leftovers and then the leftovers. And that's all the crumbs and everyone's just into it. So, yeah. No, good Christmas though.
Yeah.
Good to be with mum and dad. And my in-laws as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because you don't live in Auckland anymore, you're down Dunedin now?
South Island, man.
Yeah. You said it
Say
like
it again.
you said it like it's a different country.
It's South Island, man. It's like, Jesus, yeah. It's a different beast down there, different lifestyle, different culture.
Yeah.
I think you don't realize it until you come back home.
All right.
And you think, oh, jeez. You kind of... And it could be either a good thing, or well, I think it's a good thing. It's a change of mindset and change of lifestyle sort of thing. So, yeah, because you kind of, when you live in Auckland, you just think it's one way. Shucks, no, you go down South Island, it's a different, different life, eh? Just everything, the way they talk, the way they eat as well. So,
But it's a good thing, right?
good,
It's good.
It's really good.
Positive thing.
positive, massive. It's had a massive impact
Yeah.
on myself.
Because
And,
when I find going to like other places outside of Auckland, especially around New Zealand, like it's a slower pace.
Yeah.
Even in Wellington, like people don't think like Wellington's a city.
Yeah.
But it's still slower than Auckland there.
Yeah, bro.
It is, eh?
Yeah.
It is, man. Like, I think when I, because I'm always in Poiroa, when I get down to see my family in Poiroa, and then I see the way they do things as a community, but when you actually go into the streets, it's like, didn't you have like Jalabahas? Like, is there still 50 Ks all the way through? Like, here we got like 30 K zones, 30 Ks, like legit 30 Ks, and then speed bumps, roundabouts, whatever it is. It's like, does there anything like, it's,
Yeah, it is. Because we were down in Wellington. We were in Wellington first. So we moved, that was a transition from Auckland to Wellington.
Yeah.
And the goal was to get down to South Island. But we thought we'd do a stint in Wellington first, and so... and then, we did a couple of years in Wellington, but slower pace, like you're saying. And that was hard adjustment because, again, coming from Auckland, you just think it's one way. Nah, jeez. You kind of sit there at home. Oh, jeez, is this normal? Sitting at home, quiet. It's almost like you can hear your own conscience talking to you because you're not busy having to be stuck in traffic.
Right.
Yeah. Then you go down to South Island. Oh, man, it's even worse.
Another
Just
level of slow.
Another level of slow pace. So, yeah. But it's good, though. It's good. I like it, eh? It's really good.
I mean, that level of slow pace, like coming from Auckland, like what does that do for you, like in your mind, like with your family, and like, is it like you got more? Do you feel like you have more time on your hands now that you can do stuff that you're too busy to do up in Auckland? Because I always hear people say they're in the big smoke in Auckland, like it's too fast paced. You're in the grind, and you're just like another spoke in the wheel, and
Yeah, it's true. I think probably the biggest thing that I've sort of seen as probably the appreciation of time that you have with family, as opposed to being in Auckland, you kind of don't really appreciate that time, or you don't make that time, make it a priority sort of thing. And I get it, because up here it's fast pace, the travelling distance, you got to work, you got to grind. But then moving away from Auckland and going to Wellington, I think that really helped myself realise, geez, my own kids need time, my wife needs time, and just being present is probably the biggest thing. And that I found that hard though, because you're so used to on the go, like the lifestyle here, you're just so used to just grinding, and that's what I mean. Like you sit at home, and you just think, man, is this normal to sit at home at 3 p.m. or at 4 p.m. you know, and having conversations with your kids, or you're going to support them at a training, or support them at anything that they have, really. Because I remember driving up from Massey at 6 a.m. for work, out to Manukau, and then you drive back from Manukau all the way back home. You'll get home 7 p.m. Or 8, and that was the routine, and it became normal. But then coming away and you're going, oh, geez, that's probably the biggest thing I've learnt. Yeah. Really, and it's just to appreciate the time,
And you're right about that, because living in Auckland, like, if that kind of travel, you're talking about 3 hours gone out of your day, just sitting in the car.
Yeah. And that's out of your control, sometimes. It's just out of your control. Like, it's not your intention, because you want to be there, but that's just the way the city is built. And then, so the appreciation of time is really, I'm not saying it was easy to adjust. It was pretty hard, because you're thinking, oh man, I got to do things. I have to do something to keep me busy. But just being present with these guys, the kids, was probably the
Was it an easy decision to up and leave though? Like, did the kids take a while? Like, was it a lot of pulling sleepless nights? And
if I'm gonna be honest, like, because we were heavily involved in church, and so one of the biggest things for myself and Amanda was, we always knew that there was a calling upon our lives to go, do things bigger. And when God called us to go to Wellington, that wasn't an easy decision, really. That was probably one of the biggest and hardest, because I was also my family, were, why are you guys going? You're crazy, you got no job. I mean, legit, like, it was those, okay, God said, we're going to go sell everything. And I was like, what the heck? Sell everything? What are we going to take? Honestly, we just literally took our kids and clothes and a couple of plates, and we had no house secured yet, but it wasn't until probably a couple of weeks before we were moving, because we were selling everything, and people were just cheap prices, and then I just remember it was like in our faith, we just knew we had to, because we didn't knew that, okay, things are gonna start. But at the time, it was just crazy. People thought we were just crazy, And I was like, oh my gosh. And the whole thing was just to go and pioneer and help the church, like build a new church in Wellington. And so everything fell in place, really. Like, it got to a point we just believed, really. Prayed, had faith. And the thing is, it was hard because, you think of your kids. At that time, we only had five kids, a little baby, and you kind of think as a husband and a man, I'm taking all these guys, but we made sure that we were able to communicate that to the kids and let the kids know that we're going on an adventure. Look, this is what God has said to us to go and do. So it wasn't like me and Mum were saying we're all going this. We wanted to include them in the picture, because we knew that they're an important part of our journey as well. So it was a blessing for everything to fall in place. House. I remember the week before we especially had no house. Legit, we didn't even look at a house. Like, we had a house, we were looking on Trade Me, and we only see the pictures, but we had no one to go down and view the house. Like, so it's expensive to fly from Auckland so we couldn't even view it. Like, So we just spoke to the landlord and the real estate. And the real estate guy goes to me. He goes, "Oh, William." Because at the time it's William Hola. You can't just say, "Oh, it's Bila." It's like, "Oh, it's." He goes, "Oh, William, why are you guys moving down to Wellington?" And I just remember saying to the guy, "Man, I can't lie to you. We're moving down because God said." He goes, "Oh." He just went quiet and he was like, "I've never heard such a response like that."
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Okay, so what did your God say to do?" I was like, "Oh, he just told us to move down there because we're part of a church that we're going to help." He goes, "Oh, okay. All right." So he went back and then he started talking to the owners. And just as well, like, it was a blessing because the owners were Christians at the time. And then the owner specifically rang me up himself and goes, "Hey, heard from the real estate guy that you guys are moving down because God said." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, what are you bringing down?" And I was like, "Oh, just our plates and a couple of blankets and our clothes." And he was like, "Oh, okay, any beds, anything?" I was like, "Nah, no beds, nothing. It was just, pillows." "Okay, so what are you going to do?" I was like, "Oh, God just told us to sell everything." And it was just weird, because in your mind, natural mind, you're just thinking, what the heck is this guy up to? Even myself, as I was telling, I was like, what am I even? So, yeah, it was, but then he cut the story short, though. He rang back and he said, "Look, we're a Christian family." And they prayed. And then basically for them as well, they said, "Look, we've got a house. You guys can take this house." And then we come and move into the house. We've got a lounge. Got beds, bunk beds, TVs, and a couple of stuff there for the house that you can pretty much have. Man, honestly, it was pretty. It's when I tell it to certain people, they're like, "What, is this real? Like, is this story even real?" But I guess it did something different for us. Like, really, our belief in our faith was, okay, this is what we're, if we're crazy enough to believe it. And that's, I'll share that story to anyone in any day.
That's beautiful, Docs. As a dad, like, strictly speaking, like, those are the pressures that comes with being a dad. Everything you decide is pretty much your family's fate. But in my eyes, that shows, like, man, if you're willing to do that and show that, because there's something bigger than, like, what your workplace is or, like, anything else in the community, and something that you purely believe in, and that being faith. But it means your kids can do anything, strive to be anything they want to be, That's rich, bro. That's awesome.
Another thing about that faith is, like, man, when you go out there, like, into the unknown, sometimes that's the way that all these opportunities come towards you.
Yeah.
Because you don't even know what's out there, right? But it's not because it's dark and you don't know. It's because you haven't gone down that path before. But I think with every path you take, there's always new opportunities, and you won't know until you take that path.
Yeah,
That's
true.
Yeah,
and it is. It's the unknown, and you feel like as a human being, it's the natural things. Even as a dad or a man, it's the security of job.
Yeah,
making sure your family's gonna be secure with a house, and that's always in the back mind of any man or any person, really.
but you just live in your comfort, Docs. That's the beauty in it, is that you leave your comfort knowing that at the end of the day, if you're struggling, you can look into your wife's eyes. We're struggling together.
Yeah,
the kids are easy got each other. That's all you need,
That's it, man.
and that's the beauty of time.
Yeah.
You can have everything taken from you, as long as you got your family, bro. That's gold. There's nothing else pure than that.
And that's probably the biggest thing, for our family is keeping tight.
And that's another thing too, keeping a tight family like that, because you're all in it together, you and your wife and the kids. Like, what does us against the world? Does us? We're gonna do it. We're gonna step outside and do this together. And I think that's where the power comes from. From family. Yeah. It's God and family, and
that's right.
And you guys are protected. Like, I think people are scared of that unprotectedness, but not understand. I think people don't get the full extent of what it means to be a family, a tight family, to help each other out, and let's do it together. We're not on our own on this. We're doing it ourselves, Yeah, I think.
And then, sometimes, like, I know everyone, I speak for ourselves, but, for us, it's if God's calling us, me and my wife, it's a calling not just for myself and her, but as a family. It's upon everyone. It's not just, there's sometimes a wrong mindset where it's, and I get it with, you're a pastor or you're a minister, but it's also not forgetting that it's together as a family, that you're all pastors, but different ways, different perspectives of different contexts, really, in the way, just because my daughter might not be a pastor in the church, but she's a pastor in the school in a different form of being a pastor, in a different title, or whether it's in sports field or those things. So we kind of looked at it in that way, where it's, okay, this is how our perspective changes in that way, in our mindset. So it's a family calling, rather Bila and Amanda calling, because then it becomes separate between yourself and your kids. So you're journeying together. Yeah.
So at the time, what were you working as? Like, what was your profession at the time? What were you? What were your skills at the time? Yeah, when you took that leap with the family to move down.
I was at a residential school, WESWES, out of Massey. So I was there. I was head of sports for that school and also teacher aide.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I was running the head of sports and teacher aide. So that was my job at the time. It was comfortable because I was getting, good pay each fortnight as well, and working in the ministry as well. So it was really comfortable. So that's what I was doing, really. But it was just really comfortable. It wasn't until we made the move to Wellington that I was like, oh, geez, what am I going to get? So, yeah. And then basically it was just working those jobs. But that was in Massey, but also I worked in the youth justice system. And that was at Edge Skills, which is a youth justice provider up in Manukau. And they run a mentoring, MYND. They run a mentoring program for all the youth justice kids that have just either come out of the justice system and they're in supervision of activity. And so, I was running that for a few years until I got that last role at Massey, which made it a lot closer. And I only purposely did that too, so I can be closer to home, which was good, because I found that driving was too much, from Massey to Manukau. But yeah, that's all I was doing. My wife was just pretty much running the house with the kids as well. So she tried to go back to study, but yeah, I think I'm the one to blame that you keep getting her pregnant. So my poor wife. So yeah.
Going back to the youth justice thing, like when you were there, like how busy were you guys? Like what was the
Man, it was busy,
What was the intake and outtake and all that kind of stuff?
So you had different boys coming in with different sort of, what do you call it? Court, like you have a SWAS, supervision with activity, which was the highest. Sort of, you have to keep them busy with you every week, Monday to Friday. So you're attached to that student or kid. And then you have the ones that are just below them, that will be like 3 days a week. And then the ones below that group will just be 1 day a week. So it was always tailored to the ones that the supervision with activity was the far worst kids that have committed crimes. So you got to keep them busy and always with them. So it was intense, because especially out South Auckland, and it was really hard with those kids, because you have them for those hours that you have in this whole day. So you'll go from picking them up from like say 8 a.m. and then drop them off at 5 p.m. So you got to find activities and do things constantly with them, and it was hard, because those kids would come, but they're already set in their ways with, what they've been exposed to, and you felt for them because the program in itself was good. And boss Steve Boxer, which, man, he was awesome, but it was just, man, it was hard, it was tough, because you're always going against, a kid, whether they're in the mongrel mob, you're mentoring them, they go back, they get exposed to it, But if you can just keep just nutting out the little principles and and things that they can take away, and that's pretty much what you can do, really. So yeah, but I was busy, man. Yeah, so I'll have sometimes probably 5 kids, and within those 5 kids, like some of them, you might have 2 kids that don't even like the other 2, so you was like, oh shucks,
This is
Bruh.
WWE.
all right, some extra mentoring enough in this one, man.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh geez, how am I gonna do this? So it's like, oh, okay, so you have to try to think of ways or even think of certain words, rather trying to stand up and, because those guys already probably get it from their uncles and from those gang members. So they won't be scared. So, yeah, that was tough.
Some of the comments I've had from social workers that's been on this podcast, like doing the same sort of thing, was some of the things was when the program's finished or whatever it was, and they let go into the real world, then that's where they go back to.
Yeah.
So that's where the falls over.
Mm.
When programs like that one you were in end.
Yeah.
And then there's no one to look after them afterwards.
It's that wraparound at the end. Wraparound services for kids like that. And it's true. Because, man, you might have, like, some kids we had for, like, 3 months, 6 months. You're pouring all your resources into it. But then, like, exactly what you're saying, they leave. They just go back to the norm, what they're so used to. So, yeah, it's tough. I think it breaks my heart because you think, man, I wish you could do more, but it's out of your control, really. You can only hope, think that what you did, share to them, can help them. Or one day they might be lying there, one day in bed, or something just clicks, from something that you might have said or you might have ran with them. But, yeah, I totally agree with that. Whatever those social workers have said, it is hard.
Do you have any kids that you've seen you've been working with that you still keep in touch and that they're doing well from your time there and stuff?
No, I haven't, to be honest. Yeah, I haven't. I think now that I'm out of Auckland, haven't really kept in touch with a lot of those kids. Haven't seen them. I think the last time when I was working there, this was probably the surprise for me working there, is when I talked to a kid from, say, Mangere, and say, no, they'll ask me, where do you live? I was going, I'm not telling you where I live, but I live in a community called Kelston, or in Massey. And they're like, where's Massey? And I was like, these guys not know where Massey is. Have you guys come over the bridge, Mangere Bridge? And some of them were like, nah, they've never done that. I was like, that caught me off guard. I was like, geez, these kids have never sort of seen where Kelston, New Lynn, they think it's somewhere in Italy or, is that in Australia? So I was like, hey.
But Mangere is massive, Like, people don't realise how big Mangere is.
Exactly.
Like, and there's different sides of Mangere, but yeah, like, to realise, like, how big it is, like, the amount of secondary schools in Mangere itself says a lot.
Yeah,
know? And, like, when you think about West Auckland, well, we got 3 out west, and Kelston being on the edge of that,
Yeah.
So it's
That's
not
true.
many.
Yeah.
But, yeah, in Mangere alone, but it's huge.
Massive, So those kids keep themselves busy. Yeah, I was just surprised at that. So I never really heard it. I was like, what? Yeah, it's strange. Very strange.
I wonder if that could be another activity for kids like that. Just take them around Auckland, take them to Remuera and Mission Bay and different parts of Auckland just to see the difference. Because, Auckland's segregated, no?
Yeah.
Like, it's like for me, I think like it's like a class thing, like where you live. If you can
That's
afford
true.
to live, that's why Hadi Islanders live in Remuera and St. Helens and that, because you can't afford to live there. We can't afford to live there,
Yeah.
So we're like, we're costed out of these places, like North Shore and that's why Harley, we're out there.
Yeah.
So we are where we are.
Yeah.
We're in South Auckland because all the factories are there. West because close to the factories and that too and stuff like that. So I think that segregation, like, because it's out of sight, out of mind. With all the kids that, because I'm surprised too when you said that, all the kids that haven't been outside You know, don't know where Messi is and that. Like you take them to take them to West Auckland. It's similar to South Auckland. You know, there's heaps of unders out here too. You know, you take them to other places, North Shore, like just to see what it's like. Like it will be another world to them. But at least it's something they can see, and maybe that could plant a seed in there, like make them think, how come it's different over there, and how come we're living like this and it's
does it
different
match?
over there? Yeah, does it match? Yeah,
does it match? Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see it even with these new building of houses. I'm really surprised at how Auckland looks now. Coming back around, man, it's changed.
Oh.
So changed, and you can see it. Like we were out in Oriwa Beach the other day, and I said to my wife, I said, man, Oriwa, the area of Hibiscus Coast, and driving through that way, or going towards Wellsford, I was saying, man, this feels like the South Island. Like that's how legit. I was like going, oh my gosh, this feels like the South Island out this way. And then when you come back out to Mount Roskill, and I said, jeez.
you're in the hood, eh?
Yeah, like it's different there. And go through Avondale, and I was like, man.
Oh, Avondale's changed a lot, I think.
Yeah, bro.
Massively.
Especially the development behind the racecourse.
Yeah.
It's like real.
All these blocks of townhouses, that's just all in one piece of land. You got 4 houses there. And it's, really surprised me coming on this trip.
It's expanding too, like out in Westgate, around where Costco is, all those new houses on the left there when you go up towards Kumu on the left, they're building all those little townhouses.
Because Hobsonville, what's it? State Highway 16, Hobsonville, that's where the big development is. Remember, it used to be just a field.
Yeah.
The golf course, the RSA. Then you hit the Green Hive. Now, it's like a full-on college, full-on little mini cities. Like, they've even got like a Bunnings up there. They got a Woolworths up there. So, that's how fast the development is up there. Because you need those sort of infrastructures around,
Yeah.
And they've got their mall, which is pretty like Westgate. They can go over to the shore to White Owl Park. So it's pretty centralised, but it's still close to both sides of the highway. So there's a lot of people doing good deep thinking, like how they're trying to put infrastructure up around Auckland.
But I know how you're back here now for holidays. Like, how you find that it's expensive, Like, do you find? Because you live down in Dunedin now.
Dunedin, yeah.
The prices must be real cheaper than Auckland.
Well, $1.50 gas,
Is it $1.50 gas? Is it?
Petrol is cheaper.
Yeah,
I'd say that.
Yeah.
I was surprised. It's cheaper down there than here.
Oh.
So I was thinking, geez, it's jumped up. But no, I think I think Auckland's still cheaper,
Really?
Yeah. Like
Compared
in terms
to
of
where you are?
like in terms of groceries, like in supermarkets.
Yeah.
But it's I think it's cheaper here. Like, you walk past a pack of mints. Here it's like, whoa, is this a kg? Like, and whereas in Dunedin it's $23. Only for a kg, and on those odd days you think you walk past and just look, oh gee, yeah, it's on a good deal because it's expiring in 2 days. So say, okay, I'm on a good budget on this one. Let's go to get the mints. So it varies, but I'd say it's a lot cheaper here. Fruits, veggies are a lot cheaper here.
I wonder if it's because of the transport to get things down there.
I think
put
so.
Up the price.
Yeah, could possibly, but it's just that's South Island though. Like,
but the farms in South Island, there must be.
Yeah, it's.
So you haven't thought about opening a pig farm down there for yourself, or
not yet, man. Not yet. Not yet. No, not yet. I'll wait until I, win something, to buy a farm. And that. So but Auckland's cheaper. It's nice. Yeah.
Sure. Houses can't be much cheaper. It has to be more expensive than down there.
Yeah, it's well, if you're buying, then the market is then certain areas it is more affordable to buy down in South Island. But also rental, it's climbing up. Right. Especially for a family like us, family of 8.
12-bedroom house,
12-bedroom house, a family of 8 and plus the dog, So, it's a bit pricey. That's just the times we live in, really.
Yeah. So you had your stint in Wellington. what was coming up to the point of you guys choosing Dunedin to go down?
Yeah. Again, there was going back to our faith. We always knew Dunedin was going to be where we were going, but we never knew that how fast it was going to happen. So, but at the back of our minds, we knew that, okay, if we go where my daughter's going to start college in Dunedin, my boy will start intermediate fresh in Dunedin, then my other little boys will start primary in Dunedin as well. So there's the natural parts as well where you don't want to get our kids, settle in Wellington and then college and then have to pull them out and lose their group of friends as well, because then that's...
so there was a time frame.
Yeah, time frame even for us, and we knew, okay. And again, we included our kids in it. Look, guys, we're going again. But this time, we ain't selling everything.
She was like, pick your favorite 2.
Yeah, pick your favorite 2 clothes, 2 track pants. No. No, we packed up, loaded up the truck, and then we got our friends to drive it down, delivered it to our house we were staying as well. So yeah, there was no really specific, we're gonna go down Dunedin. There was no excitement, like, because we were enjoying Dunedin. I mean Wellington at the time. We made good friends, and then then surprisingly got down to Dunedin. And really, different journey at that time. And I think what made that transition easier for us, and I mean nothing was really easy, but it was another challenge in its own. But I think leaving Auckland to Wellington just built something in us different, where actually we've been through this before. So let's plan again. But this time, what are we going to learn from it this time? Because we took all the learnings from that part into this.
Like the anxiety's gone and
anxiety. You're still nervous again because you don't know anyone down in Dunedin. Apart that it was just my sister and my brother-in-law at the time that they were down in Dunedin, but knew no one else really. You got no friends, and you think, man, we've just made friends in Wellington. And I have to go down in Dunedin. I have to try to open up to people that I don't know again and try to meet new people. But you see it's built something in us differently, really, and even our kids. So, yeah.
But when you started coaching dogs,
Yeah.
like, how did it happen? Like, how did it fall in your lap?
Jeez, how did it happen? Wow. Oh, so I got employed at the school, Aotea College, and was helping out with the sports and teacher aid there. And then my son's there's a first dean at the college, and I was thinking, I'll go and my son said, let's go and watch the first dean, because we had no really clue of what the first dean was like. I had no clue. I was like, just still fresh in the school. And then we went to watch the first dean play one time. I took my 2 boys, Joseph and David, buy some Dominoes, sat on the bench, and we're sitting there. And then after, and we're just watching. We saw Rongotai College run out because they were playing Rongotai College. and Rongotai College are quite, up there in the Wellington.
The Ari Savels and
I was like, these guys look pretty, Especially being here in Auckland, you kind of think, oh man, these guys are similar to Kelston or those guys, big boys, tight shirts. So then I watched the Aotea College boys right now. Oh man, my son turns around and goes, what on earth are they wearing that? White socks, guys with ankle socks, guys with just, the jerseys look different, shorts. And when they played against Rongotai, man, it was like touch, Rongotai just running through and guys just touching. And so my son was like, just turns around. That's my youngest boy, David, at the time. Dad, your school sucks. Man, I was like, son, that's not my school, right? And so I was like, and it started from there, really. When I watched him, because, I saw the coach, he was out there just, a cigarette, just like, get over there, and just, yelling out. And I was like, man, and my whole thing is because I've never really coached in that level of First 15, I just really thought, man. And I think it came from the background of youth justice, like, man, I used to play, and I love sports. I mean, Lily knows I played volleyball, was mainly my sport, and I just thought to myself, man, I could use sports as a way to really transform lives, and how could I input that into the college? So that's what I did, really. That's how I got into it. I approached the sports director, Argentinian guy, Martin, give me the team. Because I was working the college, he goes, what team? And this Argentinian accent, what team, William? Like,
Did he say video? What team you talking about? Video.
And I was like, give me the first 15. And so he goes, oh, come to this rugby board meeting at the school. And I was like, oh, okay. So I told the wife. I went to the rugby board meeting. And when I went there, not knowing that very night I walked in and he had the rugby board guys and the coaches for the first 15, coach for the under 15, second 15. And then after I was standing there, because I was the new guy. They're like, oh, Martin, introduce William Hola from, he's in the school. He wants to coach. And all the guys, the Balangi guys, they're looking at me like, who the hell is this brown guy coming to the college to try to coach? And then they asked, he wants to coach the first 15. And then the first 15 coach goes, oh, yeah. The typical, he goes, okay, what has he done? And I'm sitting right there and I'm like, oh, geez, okay, this is going to be all. And so they asked and he goes, so what are you going to do, William? Yeah, that's what they asked there. Honestly, legit, my answer was like, I don't know.
Right, you're hired.
I said, I don't know. That's all I said to them. And they were like, okay, so you want the first 15, but you don't know. And I was like, I don't know. But then they were talking and said, oh, okay, let us just think about this. Why don't you take the under 15s? And I was like, nah, give me the first 15. And they were like, but you don't know what to do. And then so I was like, and then Martin goes, William, you start with under 15s and make changes there. And I said and then that's when it clicked in my head when they asked, you can't start at first 15. I said, no, give me the first 15. I said, what are you going to do? And I said, I will change lives. That's all I said. Yeah. Let me transform lives. And then that's when I used that platform, when it just started coming up there, and it was like, oh, okay. And then one of the things I said on that night too was, you can't change anything when you're at the bottom. You have to be at the top. And it's not about winning championships. You have to make changes from the top. Then, then that's when the inspiration of Remember the Titans came in.
Yeah.
But then I just, shared to them that you want changes. We can't change it under 15s. Especially looking at what this college was. You want under 15s looking at the first 15 players as role models. And then they aspire to be playing in the under 15. And they were like, oh, okay then. So that night I was appointed as the head coach for Aotea College. It's so funny. But they still asked, what are you going to do? I was like, I don't know. But I will change it. And so that's how it all happened, really. Got into the coaching. And saying that, I started getting into different things of trying to educate myself on how to play. Because, I played, but I wasn't probably as flash as Fleddy. And, they knew all the structures and, but it was just understanding the game in itself. All I knew was it's basic. It's simple. Keep it simple.
A lot of coaching is about motivation too.
It is.
So is that your side of the big motivator? Yeah. Especially like you said, your experience with the youth justice kids, seeing what they go through and probably knowing at the end how to get into them, to their minds there to try and make that change.
Massive, because especially out in Porirua, Aotea colleges in Porirua, and a lot of those kids, they get picked up by Rongotai, Scots, St. Pat's Silverstream, St. Pat's Town. So those families, they just, you won't go Porirua College, you won't go Aotea College, we'll send you there because there's no rugby program or nothing. And so when I started, I thought, man, I'm gonna really change this up, because the talent was there, man. Like, no lies, I mean, it was, man, pure talent. It was just they needed something to just bring everyone together, really, and that was part of my job. Was even with my lack of understanding of how to coach rugby first, but that was probably, I'd say that was probably the easiest thing to pick up. Is picking up different shapes, 1-3-3-1, 2-4-2, like those. I remember having a conversation with the guy. He was a coach, out in Poniki. He goes, "Oh, hey, Will, That's good, man. I don't know if I can live with this, Will." That's good, man. If only you guys knew Pila. But he goes, "Hey, Will, so what shape are you running?" Now in my head, it was the first time I ever heard shape. Shape. And he goes, "Yeah, what pattern are you running with the team, with the Aotea boys?" Man, in my head, I was like, side to side. Like, I was just, because the boys weren't even playing a shape. I was like, all I know is just play smart, like, hit. And then after that, I kind of tried to fake it, where I tried to change up the conversation. Because, oh, yeah, there are a lot of shapes out there. Like, just try to. And then he turns around and he goes, "Yeah, so you're playing a 1-3-3-1 shape?" That's why he said it. And I was like, "Yeah, no, we're playing a 1-3-3-1. So I just write on the 1-3-3-1 there.
Was it the pizza shape?
Honestly, yeah. So I went back home. 1-3-3-1. What does 1-3-3-1? Oh, okay. Yeah, cool. Got a bit of an understanding on that. So that was the first time. My poor Aotea boys are probably in the first couple of months. They're like, "Sully, what shape are we playing, Mr. Hola?" So, yeah. But then they picked up quick. Like I said, I think that was the hardest part is establishing the culture and the environment. Changed up everything.
So how did you go through that process, like changing the culture?
It was hard, man. The vision there. I'd say probably vision. Vision is probably the biggest thing that changed it all. Really.
So you developed your vision in your mind first. Did you put it down on paper?
Conversation with my wife.
Yeah.
And I said to Amanda, "Man, all right, I'm doing this coaching. What are you?" Because my experience of church and programs is that there's a bigger goal to something that you want to do. And I just thought I kind of take that approach the same as coaching, is establish my vision, or philosophy they call it out in the rugby language terminology, is what's your philosophy. And when I established that vision, that was really the kickoff of, okay, how this all connects back to my vision, and how am I gonna express that and portray it out into my school. And that was writing down, okay, I need key people to jump on board: principal, senior leadership, sports department, teachers, and then the players, the students. And honestly, it was like one of those, those inspirational stories where I could really, you think it's a movie sometimes, and I think, shucks, how the hell did we go that far, like, to make it that far in the 2-year stint that I was with them, and it was just all about giving them vision. And that was the impact of just the vision, really. Man, boys, we can do something crazy enough if you believe it. And they jumped on board in the vision. And at first, how did it look like in the education, turning up to school early, school uniform. So I linked everything back into the education, just like how I would, do it with my sort of, the way I mentor and the way and I said, if we're going to do this, we're going to have to change the mindset of teachers towards you rugby boys. And that's turning up to class. That's getting your NCA levels 80% over, 90% over. And so we ticked off all those things. And the first year was probably the toughest. And no lies, I kicked out, because I was down there, and I kicked out probably 13 of the previous year players. And it's because I just knew I just wanted a group of players that were just crazy enough to, yeah, we're down, Mr. Hola, let's give it a go. And there were the potentials, whereas the others didn't really want to, "Oh, bro, we've been here for years." I said, "Man, I don't really care. You go and brush the toilets or something," and they turn up to school. So it was those little processes. And it wasn't easy, it wasn't perfect, but even the principal and the teachers had to jump on board. And as soon as I vision cast it, I called it vision cast, and the staff meetings, told them this is what we're doing. So teachers, there was accountability, and teachers, and then the students. And no lies, man, that first year we were, because they were a Division 4 team down in Wellington. That first year I talked to him, I set it up really quite tight, even though I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just following. We ended up, my goal was to try to be Division 2. So we ended up being in Division 2. And that was the process. But I tried to train them to be in Premiership level. So it was shifting their mindset, even though we're playing Division 2, but your mindset is you're going to be Premiership sort of mindset. And then it was the Division 2, we ended up making the finals the first year in Division 2. So it was pretty magical of how it happened. It wasn't until the following year, the second year stint, where we just boom, just started climbing up the ranks. Won 3 cups all in 1 year. So it was like boys made New Zealand Barbarians, made Hurricanes, made Wellington. So it was just all in 1 year. That just 2 years later, the boys ended up NC8 levels, graduating. Boys just hammering different things. Got sponsors. People started jumping on board. Lost to fielding, almost made New Zealand top 4 in that second year, for co-ed. So it was like, you think it's just one of those movies, but it was, oh my gosh. And it was real inspiration. And I think that's what picked up the game more, because I started matching the vision with playing, technical, tactical, and it just started aligning, Things just started aligning, and players as well. So, yes, Aotea will always be something close to me, to be honest. And that's when Philosophies asked. Even now, coaching, these socks, Aotea college socks I wear, every coaching game. Track pants or shorts, I wear the Aotea College socks. And then the hoodie underneath, the Aotea College one, I just cover it with the Otago or the team that I'm playing with. It's just something that I kind of hold close, because I knew, man, that's where it began. That's where it all began for me.
What was the sort of feedback you got when things were going well for you guys with the ex-coach and teachers? And because they'll probably remember the time when you said, I don't know, in the beginning, and thought, I will get this guy a chance, he's going to change. And then things start changing. Yeah,
I think that's why I had to match the natural with not just rugby. Like when I talk, not the natural, the education, it's almost like you had to match and have fruits or produce something that was tangible, tangible for the staff and people. Like, they want to see, so is this really going to change, or they're just going to be better rugby players, And so
just connect everything in.
Connect it. So because I knew if I could get these guys, pay their subs on time, turn up to school on time, pass and smash the NCA, I knew that was my go-to, that I will hold the school accountable. Hey, I'm doing my part. Give me something.
Right.
So that was like, I had to put that as my weight to, I'm doing my part, man. Bring it, meet me halfway. And so, but I got the old coach to actually coach with me. He was a good man. He was an old guy, and I still keep in touch with him now. Mark Connolly, real out there kind of guy and different. But it was, I knew he was only doing what he knew how to do it. And I think that was the understanding that I had, is meeting him and talking with him. His heart was in the right place, just didn't know how to carry it. And, he was just really carrying it to give the boys an opportunity. And so at that time when we took it, Aotea was only first 15 and second 15. But they were going between both, so they were default games. 2 years that we ran it, we had a first 15, second 15, under 15s, and under 65 and under 85 kg. So we had 5 teams functioning at the time when I was running the program as well. So, but those coaches were good, man. They were good. All learning, but had the main thing, Yeah, that's good.
You mentioned Hurricanes. Who were some of the boys that you coached that made it NPC? And
so the guys that's currently still in the program for Hurricanes and Wellington is Ropati Soyalo. He was a centre winger. He was the one that made New Zealand Barbarians from Aotea. He was year 12.
Related to Rodney?
Nah. So he's not So'ialo.
Oh, yeah.
It's So'alo. And so he was Yeah, he was all over YouTube. He was a year 12, and he made New Zealand Barbarians at the time as well. So he was one, and then there's a few guys, Sia, Mata, and then Javan, Fritz. There was a few boys that were in their program, and then because no one looked at Aotea, as soon as we started making a presence, then you start seeing, those 4-wheel drivers coming in. It's like, oh,
Those Range Rovers.
yeah. It's like, oh, okay, it's Wellington brand, Wellington Lions, and it's like, and they come up, hey, Will. Oh, it's great coaching, mate. I was like, oh, here we go.
Is that as bad as what it is up here, though? Because everyone knows dogs.
Yeah.
You go to those year 8, 9 tournaments, and you know who. They're the most kitted out. It would be like NBA, when you see the most kitted out guys with the clipboards and 3 or 4 of them, and you're just looking like, did it happen when you were there?
Yeah, it did. And it's funny, because, I mean, it's not until you make a presence in the city, or if a school comes out, they're like, oh, what's happening there? Or who's the person that's taking it? Then they come with their clipboards, come all kitted out. They show interest. But it's like, man, it's always been there. You just didn't care. It's like you're waiting for it.
Yeah.
You're just picking from the crops of the other bigger colleges. You care less of these kids that you're almost waiting for them to, So it is. I think it is. It's heavy, and maybe because it's a smaller city, it's right there in front of you. Whereas probably here, I haven't really experienced it as much. Yeah.
But yeah, it still happens here, The year 13 students going to do another year 13 year at another school.
And it's tricky.
Typical,
It's typical. Yeah, a lot of the boys, I remember when they were year 13s, I was like, oh, Mr. Hola will come and do another year. I just remember, in my own selfish, I was like, man, if you did, we could be, just thinking in that aspect. I was like, man, this is life. I just had to remind myself what the vision was and what my whole philosophy was. And it's like, man, boys, go. You can change the world and study, do what you need to do, So, and that kind of brought peace in my heart. And now to see them and keep in touch with them, as those boys I keep in touch with, some of them are studying, almost graduating, doing this physio stuff, sports, accounting, law, rugby as well. That's where, to me, it's like, man, that's the success of what really is coaching, And that's,
How's the culture now? Does it still carry on after you've left? Or
I think it's just, it's carrying on, but probably not as strong as what it was before, because it's like anything, you got to have someone that drives it, really, and has passion to change it. And those guys that are doing it now, they're doing a good job. It's just they're only doing what they know
as much as they
can, and then they're keeping, they're running their teams. I mean, they got first 15, second 15, under 15s, under 16. So it's still running, and they've got an awesome director of sport as well. So yeah, it's still running. To me, it shows, oh man, they may not be in the top end, but they're running, and they've got kids that were in the Wellington 16. So it's, when I see those updates, it's just like, oh.
You sort of like laid the foundation for them to move forward in that direction.
I like to think maybe that was probably the reason why. I think because we only did a 2-year stint. I did a 2-year stint, and then we moved to Wellington on that 3rd year. I was supposed to take them. I mean, even the players in that know that we would have taken out the whole premiership in Wellington. The local boys that was there, because no lies, those boys were gunning, and we would have taken out New Zealand top 4. That's my whole belief. I totally believe it, because those guys were on a different level as well. So, yeah.
But when you said that the talent was there, man, like, because when we were at school, there was talent, docs?
Man.
And like we had the biggest pond of talent.
Yeah.
And not a lot of it stayed, like, like your brother Will, they ended up down at Hamilton, and then some of the other guys, they got poached, either went to Massey, went somewhere else. But like, when you see talent, like I firmly believe, like, because we saw when we were at school, when you go into another space and you see the talent, we got the eye for it, because you know, bro, that guy's gonna get far.
Yeah.
This team's gonna be solid.
Yeah.
You know, and they just need to believe in themselves, Like if you can get them to believe in themselves, bro,
Nothing
it's
can stop.
unstoppable way.
Absolutely, man. I tell you, believe that, If you can grab a group of boys to believe in something bigger, man, that far outweighs tactical, technical.
Any day.
Any day, because you've got boys that you look to the side, I'm going to die for you. I'm going to smack this guy up in pieces. Like, you know, those are the boys that you want to play for.
Yeah.
You know, and as opposed to just being the superstars. You know, we had no superstars apart from Ropati. That was the guy, and he was going all over YouTube and social media, you know. But other than that, it was just a group of crazy bunch of boys that just, yo, Mr. Hola said do this, let's ride on it.
That thing about doing it for your brother to the left or to the right, that's big. It's a big because you know, I always thought when the game of rugby or rugby league, like you go into war, and it's that mentality,
Yeah,
you're there for your brother, and we're going to war and we're gonna fight, and then we're gonna come back and win or lose, you know.
Yeah,
but it's you're there for them, and you're there for each other.
That's right.
And then that brotherhood comes out of that.
That's it.
You know.
You have to train that, Sometimes you have to, sometimes you don't, because some group of boys can, you know, you have your leaders and they're pulling everyone, but then you have the ones that just kind of stand out, you know, all about themselves. When they, you know, everyone wants to make All Blacks, everyone's got dreams and make NPC, but if you just focus on the now, you know, and have a different mindset to it, I just remember trying to build it in the boys, with, because I remember I had caught up with a few of the, you know, guys from Wellington Rugby, and but also the other coaches like, oh, what are you doing at Aotea College? That's different. I said, no.
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know, mate. Just look here, mate. I just don't know what shape is. First of all. So I was like, oh man. But I just said to them, oh, they go, how many days do you train? A week, Will? You know? And I'm like, twice a week? You know, and they're like, huh? Twice a week? I was like, yeah, Tuesday, Thursday? I'm like, that's all? I was like, yeah, and then Wednesday. You go, oh, what's Wednesday? I said, oh, it's mentoring session. I'm like, mentoring session? Like, you know, that. I was like, so what are you doing mentoring session? I said, oh, just mentor the boys. We go through a few things about life, changing their mindset about certain things, giving them little tools, how to cope with under pressure in the classroom. Like, hey. So I just kind of said to them, I was like, well, rugby's one thing. But, you know, because one of the things, funny story how that came about was I rang up St. Pat Silverstream. This is a funny story, man. It's not funny, but it got me going. I was like, man, I'm going to come after you, bro. You know, and then I rang up the coach at St. Pat Silverstream. I said, hey, mate, look, I'm the new head coach for Aotea College. He goes, oh, yeah, nice, okay. And you could tell on the other side of the phone, he's probably just rolling his eyes. Like, I could just picture him, And he goes, oh, yeah, so what would you like us to do? And I was like, oh, man, I want to have a preseason game against you guys. And he goes, oh. You know, started laughing, and he's like, oh, come on, mate, you're joking. You know?
Whoa.
And I was like, oh, pardon?
You know, guys, you don't know if you know who Bila is in Castan, and Bila is from Castan, legit lived in the hood Castan, doc?
Bro, hard.
Bro, if
Like,
someone tried to say, can you turn their rock into gold? Tell them, doc. Tell them.
man, and then he was like, mate, what landscape? This is his words. What landscape are you living in, mate? Like, for a moment, I was thinking, what landscape am I living in? Like, I was thinking, who says something like that? I was going, mate, I read those kind of words on books sometimes. Like, what landscape am I living in? So I just said to him, look, mate, it'll really help our college, because Division 4, and they're like, mate, we'll send you our first 15. And I was like, no. I want to play your first 15. And he was like, nah, come on, William, come on, mate. You know, and I was like, oh, so you're not going to give me your first 15? He goes, mate, we're really playing the top end players. And like I said, what landscape are you living? Like, this is the way I was taking it. Man, I was just like, at first I was disheartened. Because at the time you're trying to establish something and you're thinking, man, what the heck? But then after the phone call, I was like, flip, man. You watch, I was saying, you wait, man. I'm coming after you, bro. So that was my whole mindset. I said, all right, boys, outside. Get the cones. Just started drilling, building up to that. And then when after the first year, came to the first year, and then, because we ended up playing them in the semis, St. Pat's Silverstream. Their second 15. We played the second 15 in the semis because it was Division 2. And then we played them in the semis, and I remember walking, and he comes out and he goes, oh, you're William. And I was like going, yep. And I just remember him just standing there. He goes, oh, mate, you've done a pretty good job with the fellas, getting into the stage. And I just remember saying to him, and he goes, oh, so what are you building for the boys? I just remember I said to him, it wasn't about rugby. I said to him, look, the difference between me and you is that I'm building these men for the game of life. You're building them for just a game of rugby. And I'll meet you next year again. And then he was just taken back. And he was like, oh, jeez. I just walked. That was one of those moments there. I just kind of thought, I better walk off now before you say something. This is my line. I was going, I better finish it. Cut it there. I'm out. So I left it in my head. I said, yeah, that's right, boy. Got you, you punk. Punk ass. No lies. The following year, though, pre-season, he rings me back up. He rings me and goes, hey, Will, how are you? Like, he rang me up because he knew, oh, jeez. When he watched that semi-finals, he knew, because I had a whole bunch of year 11 boys.
Oh, shit.
And he knew, oh, man, this guy's going to change up something for Aotea. And so that following year, I knew he was going to, I was just waiting, because then I ended up contacting other schools, Porirua College, have a pre-season with them to build up the community in Porirua, Mana College, and then like a bit more smaller kids so that they can develop the game. And then he rang me back up. He goes, hey, Will, how are you? Talking. Yeah, I'm good, doing the sweet talk. And he goes, look, mate, I'm really pleased, that what you've done in the college. And look, we'd like to have a pre-season with you. And I was like, man, in the back of my head, I was like, man, I remember you said to me, man, what landscape are you living in? I just remember I just said to him, look, I'm not interested in you anymore. And then he goes, oh, you don't want to develop the boys? He goes, nah, my boys are better than your boys. That's all I just said to him. And he goes, oh, okay. He said, yeah. You know why I say that? And he was like, why? He goes, because my boys passed their school NCA. They turn up to school. They're not late. Their uniform, spick and span. And I can guarantee you, your kids, your first 15 boys in your Silverstream. And I've done my homework. That's all I just said to them. I've done my homework. They don't turn up to classes. They don't turn up to this. And I remember I said to you, I'm building my boys for game of life. And then that was just a conversation. And I said, yeah, but I'm busy now. So I just wanted to end the conversation like that. And then, so it was one of those ones, just really, okay, I'm going to hit you back with a few principles and a few values and that. But, yeah, I had to match it though. And it wasn't until that following we made the finals. And we met them in the finals, but we lost in the finals. But we went on, going on winning other trophies. Because we're in the co-ed, New Zealand top 4. And so we were the co-ed champs in Wellington. That was the first time. Beards Trophy champions, Challenge Cup champions. So we went on to play against Fielding. And that was a good experience. But all the boys were year 12 at that time. So that's why I knew, man, year 13, if I did that third year stint, I just know that we would have
made it over them.
Yeah, would have done it. But yeah, it was good. That was just a story on honestly, hilarious. Yeah,
that's a mean story, right?
But it's amazing, like you just not knowing in the 2 years when we did on Wellington, like you're gonna educate and then pick up coaching, and then you get like an offer to go coach down in Otago, like rep level dogs.
I know.
Oh, is that why you guys moved?
Yeah. Oh no, it was just we moved because of the whole reason of getting down, but yeah, coaching wise was definitely on the. I actually thought, Wellington. I thought, oh man, it was mean doing it there, and I never knew that I'll go down to Otago. Carrying on with the coaching, I just kind of thought, oh, it was a hobby, and I was good at it because of, my mentoring sort of background and with youth justice, and just I wanted to use sports as a platform, and yeah, but it wasn't the case really. I think I really had to look in deep and say, actually, because at Wellington, I think when I was reminded, I was like, at that time, Wellington we were nominated for Team of the Year. I remember Wellington, for the Wellington ASP's college sports, and then Coach of the Year male, and then other awards for the team. And I was thinking, far out, actually pretty good at doing this kind of stuff. And then the Otago came, and then I just said to my wife, I said, probably won't coach, don't want to, and just. Again, I didn't realize how it could take me in a different path. But then I thought, oh yeah, no, done. We were at our club day for the kids, and then my son David, because he's quite out there, and we went there, and it was first time at the club at Southern. That's the club we're involved in now. And I remember we went in, and they were like, oh, sign up the kids, sign them up. I was sitting there, and there's close to over 100, almost 150 people. And then I was like, oh, they didn't have a coach. And so it was under 8s at the time. And then he was like, the chairman got up, club captain. Hey, everyone, look, we're looking for a coach for the under 8 Ravens. If you know anyone out there, please. It's our first time at the club, eh? And even my son too, and he was like, if you know anyone out there, please let us know. Surely, honestly, man, my son, bro, and amongst everyone, I was standing at the back with my glasses, and I was saying, and the guy just puts his hand up, sir, me, this is in front of the whole club, and then the club captain said, oh, yeah, you young fella. Stand up, and he goes, oh, yep, and he goes, do you know someone? And then, what's your name? He goes, oh, my name's David Hola. And he's like, oh, hey, David. Do you know someone? He goes, yeah, my dad at the back. Man, I was like, what the heck? I just took off the shirt. I was like, bro, I'm going to get this guy, man. He goes, my dad he coached in Wellington. And I was like, oh, hell no. So after that day, he goes, oh, awesome, round of applause for David's father. The whole club was clapped. I was like, flip, man, heck. So that's how it all started with that down in Otago again. But it was funny because I thought, I just remember, like, I laid it back and I think back. I remember I was praying a couple of nights ago, and I just said, man, Lord, if coaching is something you want me to take, and then just use me in any way way possible. And then when that came about, and I said, because I remember saying, oh, I'm done. Nah, I just don't want to. But when that came about with my son handpicking me out of nowhere, I was like, oh, geez. It wasn't until afterwards, because I was pretty angry at my son. I said, why'd you do that for, you? Started sort of going at him. But it wasn't until that night I just kind of lied down and I just thought, man, I remember praying this. And the good man upstairs used my son David, because I was not brave enough to say, and I thought to myself, under 8, oh, bro, and then it wasn't from that moment that I thought, okay, looks like the man hasn't finished, and then that's how I started off again with under 8s, really, and that was my priority, under 8s, and I just remember I'm gonna do it so good that I'm gonna waste every South Island team down here, with Otago team, and it wasn't just about that, but also the teaching that I had from it. Man, I got so much teaching under 8s, and I just remember that first year I did under 8s. It was a club awards, and there wasn't anything to win the award, but it was more it's a senior awards, and they had the coach of the year sort of award, coaching excellence, and I remember I was awarded that coaching excellence because of coaching the under 8s. But it really got me because I was thinking, man, you learn the most coaching kids if you really are open to it.
Yeah.
And that's when I found, man, if I can perfect my method, coaching kids, package it different and deliver it different, I'll take that when I coach older kids, package it, deliver it in a different way, with technical, tactical, environment, culture, all those things. And then that's when it just started, happening. Then the following year, I took the under-13s. Again, everything happened for a reason, because, again, after that year, then, because I'm a spiritual man and I love my faith, that's always been carrying us. And then I remember after under-8s, then that's when I asked, okay, Lord, where to next? Do the under-13s. I remember telling Lady this, because this morning, my son's under-12 teams were, wooden spooners. And then when I heard the good man upstairs say, take the under-13s, I said, what on earth? These kids are like...
Because that grade and that competition down there,
is pretty...
That's no one, because
no
every time they have that 13s club rugby
Yeah.
championship, there's always a
It's
team
always
from
nice.
down home that's,
Yeah,
hey,
massive,
finals.
bro. And
yeah,
so
that's big.
that's what I did with the under-13. So we put it... And then, but again, got a group of dads involved, had a sergeant Rata, but always just strategic in my mind. I was like, looking away. I was getting potential. Yep, you're one. So what does Sergeant have? He's got army base, trainings. Doko, you're my trainer. The other guy, video analysis. You're my video analysis guy. The other guy's a Ford. So I just used a group of people that helped him develop. And then we took the under-13s from wooden spooners to the top, and it was at that moment, which I didn't know living there, it puts a presence in the city. And then I started wondering, oh man, shucks, people are like, turning up to trainings just to watch, it's like, what the hell? It's like, what's this guy doing at the trainings, and with the kids? And so you're just running the trainings with the kids, and then put structures in place, change it up. And then, just grew from there. And then that's when it all happened. Everything just sort of fast-paced from there. Hey, can you coach reps? I did 1st of Dean, 2021, Kings High, assistant coach there, and then assistant coach for Otago 18s. And after that, I was invited to the Highlanders 18 schools stuff. And then, then last year, head coach for the Otago teens, invited again to help, just be involved in that Highlanders sort of setting. And it was nice. It was just nice to grow and develop and look at other coaches and some good people out there that help you develop. And I was telling leaders, man, I would never ever think that I'll be, in this where I am now, because I was like, gone from don't know the shape to, that I do know. And like I said, I think I've picked it up more, the technical and tactical things, a lot faster. And as opposed to still learning on the culture, the environment, because I find that that's probably the most important parts. Changing up cultures, environments, and the mindset of players. Really is.
You got to share the story about, because obviously you would have made a lot of noise moving down, right? From having that our third team then going down and then making that final. So the people in Wellington, knowing that you were moving down, they would have let that news spread fast.
Yeah. So not knowing like a lot of the stuff that that in Wellington, that kind of not knowing, and then it's like, oh geez, hey, we've heard from Wellington that you're coming down and so, and I was like, oh, okay, but because I just don't, I'm so oblivious to it. I'm just like, man, I'm just doing what I'm doing because it's what I love to do, and seeing lives transform, and so.
You gotta share the Selala story, Docs.
Yeah, so it's like, I met up with Selala and Mapasua, so he's man, good guy, good man, head coach of the Manu Samoa. So
what year was all this happening?
This was all the first year we moved, 2019.
All right. Yeah.
2019. Yeah, 2019, 2020, under 13s, then 2021, 1st of Dean, at Kings, and then last year, 2022. Yeah, so in the span of 4 years, things just escalated like, it was crazy. And I just found that things were like...
Timing.
Hey, yeah, and it's that, the timing and everything just really falling into place of, hey, can you get... It was just like, the way I kind of see it, like God was just fast-tracking, Fast-tracking, getting me to be qualified World Rugby, level 1, level 2, level 3, coaching educator as well. So yeah, it was those things that kind of realigned. I was like, man, God, you're opening up all these doors. But then that also put a bit of accountability on myself. Like, man, I could easily walk through these doors, but at the same time, it could easily be taken away from me, if I'm unfaithful with it.
Mm.
And so that's always in the back of my mind as well. So yeah.
Was Selala Manasamu coach then?
Yeah, he's
when you said you met him?
no.
At
He
that
was
time?
the Otago development officer
At that time.
at the time. And so, I never really met Selala, it's just over time that when I was down there, got in touch and he goes, hey, have coffee, catch up. I was like, oh, shucks, I'm having coffee with Selala, I was like, thinking to myself, man. But because he knows my cousin, and they played together and down there in the Highlanders in Otago, and so we met up.
Did you reach out to Toka as well?
Who?
Did you reach out to Toka as well?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Reach out to my cousin Toka. Man. Massive. But I was really careful to use his name down there.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want people to think, I wanted to sort of carve out my own sort of path and create my own wave of friends in it. And so I was really careful when people say, oh, do you know any families down here? I was like, nah, not really.
Yeah.
And so that was huge. But man, Toka's, he was huge. Even in the coaching, he sent me some stuff, some resources, and that's so I could use it. It's funny because I'll use some of it, and the players will be like, man, Will, that's mean.
There's Alano Swakai. So
Orlando Swakai.
He played down there for years, eh?
And I'll be like, yeah, it's good, guys, like just, but really in the back of my head, I said, thanks, Toka. So if you watch this podcast, Orlando, thank you.
Yeah, bro. That's a solid number 7 from Grandma.
Yeah.
To this day, bro. Honestly.
Hard, man. He's had to work, and now he's doing massive things in
Japan.
Japan.
Yeah.
He had the opportunity to coach, in Japan, the Japan national team as well with Jamie, doing their defense, I think it was, or their forwards. And so, yeah, we keep in contact, and he gave me some gold. Like, he goes, do you have a Dropbox? And I was like, going, Dropbox? I never really heard of it. He goes, oh, mate, subscribe to it and just sign up and buy one of the 1 terabyte or something. Looked it up. Oh, yeah, sweet. Here's some resources. Man, just clicked on the folder. I was like, holy damn, just the stuff that he has in. So I use that. I just kind of drop it in now and then with some stuff or drills. I watch it and I say, listen to the language he uses.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Take away to the training, and the players are like, man, that was mean. Or even some of the coaches like, shucks, how'd you figure out that way? I was like, man, a lot of thinking. Little they know it's on the laptop Dropbox. Yeah. Shot, soaks. No. But yeah. No, it's good. I enjoy it. Now I've actually acknowledged the fact that, man, there's something that I want to do. I want to keep growing in it. Keep, perfecting my method and of coaching and using that platform. Yeah, to
But that meeting with Selala Docs, like what made me feel like, man, that is so awesome, Docs, that you thought of it like that. Because he obviously heard that you were coming down. The word would have got down. But how did he was trying to rope you in, but you already had, David already got you the club job from the club, eh?
So it was like, because, I think for those guys that, they give opportunities. And Salado was good because he'll create pathways for coaches that are coming in, and that's just the type of person he was. He was open to, especially our Pacific people as well. And if someone's, man, legit, he'll back you up, but at the same time, he was still probably skeptical, like, oh, what's this guy doing, And then, so when he did hear, and then when we did talk in the coffee, he invited me to a masterclass session, skills with the younger kids. And he was like, man, just come down and, what would you want to run, be involved in the drill. And I was like, oh, okay. And he goes, oh, what do you want to do? And I was like, I'll do the defense. And he goes, oh, yeah, tackle. And I just told him, tackle tech. So in my head, I was thinking, I'm not going to do tackling. And I was saying to Letty, because being technical, you got to break it down. Tackle is the end product of tackling. So you have pre-tackle, tackle, post-tackle. So we focused on a lot of that pre-tackle stuff, and that's the footwork. Making sure that the kids understand off the line, staying square, not flat-footed, on your toes, right foot, right shoulder. And then that conversation with Selala just kind of went up, and then the different offers of, man, can you coach at this? And, could you come and do this? Or I'm doing under 8. I was like, I just had to stand strong on, man, this is my... And the funny thing was, like, they're like, man, this guy's saying no. Like, what the heck? To an under 8? I was like, in my head, I was like, I know.
But you really got a round of applause from the club, eh?
I was like, they applauded me, man. So yeah, that was, and then it just, I think that kind of made, even though Otago, that, man, I'm not a guy that's gonna budge, because I know my journey is different from any other person, and I'll always accept the fact that everyone's different in their journeys, and there's some chase higher honors. Whereas me, I just kind of, man, Lord, this is what you want me to do. Because I think that what's instilled in me is probably my journey from Auckland and being here in Auckland. And I've seen our journey myself, and, as a husband, as a wife, my wife and the kids, you kind of learn from those things, and you think, man, I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but it's more those little principles that you kind of just, you take it away and you think, man, I don't owe anyone.
Absolutely, Docs. That's exactly.
It's like, man, it's my kids and my wife that I owe the most, and so those are probably the biggest things that in the forefront of my decision. And, I don't chase those things. I just allow, man, God, if it's you. And even moving from Auckland to Wellington, it's always been God. From Wellington to Dunedin, it's always been God. Everything we're doing is just faith. And that's probably the biggest. So I can't lie to people and say to them, man, you've gone up so much in such a quick time. But, my biggest thing is, man, it's because I live with God, and I'll get there. But in a cocky way, I'll get to where I am. Just looks different. And if it's sometimes coaching under 8s looks like you're going 10 steps back. This the way I looked at it, is that I did under 8s, but it catapulted me 20 steps forward with the values and the principles and my method to be able to earn the respect of players, community, all those things, eh?
Because another outcome of that is your integrity.
That's right.
And I think that's, like you said, how you said, 12 steps forward is your is all those things, but integrity is one of the biggest ones. Too.
Massive.
And that that goes a long way in a lot of people's minds, I think.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah,
it does. And it's not often you see a lot of, you chase the dream, you try to chase it, but you kind of forget the process. You got to learn some internal things and things for when you get to that place. Because I swear, if I probably was, chucked into Otago 18s or Otago development, whatever, and that scene, and I was the way I was 4 years ago or 3 years, silly, I would have drowned. I would have looked like an idiot. But it's also, there's that aspect of knowing yourself, for the fine line of just taking risks to go to another extra step, and so, yeah.
So we were talking about, when we started the podcast, we were talking about Auckland being a fast-paced lifestyle compared to where you are now in Otago, where it's slow, and that's sort of like an analogy for what you're saying.
That's true.
Jump fast into something,
Yeah.
But take it slow. Things will slowly come. Opportunities will come. That whatever path you take,
Just be patient, eh?
It's the gain of time, and that's it. Like you can't buy it. You can't buy it back, and there's nothing you would trade for it. You know what I mean? But if you could buy back time with people who have passed on, or the moments that you could just capture and bottle it, it can't be done. Photos don't they don't rendition what's in the flesh.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
snippets only do so much.
Mm.
But yeah, bro, that time factor is exactly what you've gained
Mm.
just by moving away, you know.
Yeah.
And I always say to people when they come home through the shop is like, sometimes you got to get away to get ahead, and that's the only way to do it. But the best way to process it is to reflect
Yeah.
and
Mm.
reflect and see how far you've grown and how far you've actually
100%.
bounced back from where you were,
Yeah.
you know.
And that could be the negative side to living in Auckland. There, you can't reflect because it's too
No.
far. You don't have time to reflect.
That's because
You're reflecting on the traffic already, eh?
you're already on the toilet going like, and then you go,
Scrolling
"Yeah,
on
what are we watching? We're running plans.
Oh,
and then it's like 9 o'clock. It's time for bed.
It's so true. Yeah, it is. It's everything's beautiful in its time, eh?
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I see it, eh? Everything's beautiful in its time. But you just got to be ready for it, eh?
Mm.
And one of in the coaching aspect, I was, caught up with one of the, good man down in Dunedin. He's the King Jury, and he's the Highlanders talent ID guy, development manager. And he coached New Zealand secondary schools. He was the head coach of New Zealand secondary schools. One of the things he said to me, which was, which I knew, but at the same time, it's nice to hear it from someone at that place that's already coaching in that level, is that, time is beautiful and it's great, but you have to be prepared for that time, So when the time comes, you don't want to be caught out, oh, geez, I'm not prepared,
Yeah.
And I think I've taken that on board from that, but also even with the time that's like, okay, I need to upskill myself, develop myself, watch people, watch what they're doing, put myself out there. And it's all about just putting yourself out there, eh? Really, and making sure that you know what you have is special that others don't have, and what others have that's special that you could possibly grab a nugget from that, a gold nugget that you could implement in your coaching. So, yeah, just thought that's massive.
So under 8s, that was 2019.
19. Yeah.
Then went up to under 13s.
Under 13s, 2020. And then First Dean, back to First Dean in 2021.
Off
King's High School.
King's High School.
Yeah, King's High School. So I was doing the defence and the forwards. And that. So yeah, again, learning different things. You're just constantly learning out. It's like, man, different defensive shapes and that.
But that conversation we had, Docs, like talking about, like, I told you how my daughter had played her first game, and like when you said you did that drill, like with the kids, when that masterclass drill, it was like your feet work, It's the feet work.
Footwork.
Like me and my daughter, we watch hours of tape, but like especially when you see a tackle, and now that they've done the contact to the head sort of rules, and like you're easy 10 minutes off. But when you said that you started at the footwork first, because and I told you how my daughter did her first ever tackle, coming up off the line and just placement of the feet, eyes below the shoulders, Because if your eyes are below anyone's shoulders and you're making the tackle, it's never going to be high.
No.
But like you can just see the danger, like different age groups, people for the fundamentals go out the door, and then you wonder why there's so many head contacts. It's because their hands and their body aren't square. And it's just hit and miss, or hit and pray it doesn't contact someone in the head.
It's poor. It's just the lack of education of coaches, because you're doing tackle tech, everyone focuses on either the tackle or not even the post tackle, it's the pre-tackle that's probably the most important, that can avoid concussions or bad technique. And so that's doing it through learning that craft. You think, man, it's the footwork and the tackle. Obviously you train the tackle as well to dominate it, but if you can have good footwork, up and line, inside shoulder, outside shoulder, then it's
a lot of coaches are all guilty of it, man. You see it. I watch a lot of first 15 rugby. A lot of coaches, like even the best steppers, best runners, are guilty of not knowing how to tackle, and that's just plain and simple. I mean, if you watch, sorry, Rob, SPW's tape, his feet are always far. He's too far for him to make contact. But he's either gonna go too high or it's gonna look wrong because of the way his arm doesn't wrap, because his shoulders, it looks like a shoulder charge. But if he had just perfected that craft early, a lot of his hits would have been like on the highlights reels there forever.
It's true.
I had conversations where, like when you talk about when you watch rugby on TV, like the All Blacks and World Rugby, all the international stuff, and you see all the red cards going out and the yellow cards and all that, and all the rules changing around tackling and the head clashes, head knocks, and all that kind of stuff. And it's like they're trying to make the game safer. That's the reason why they're going hard on these type of things. But then but how much of the tackle tech is helping that? How much is this process of trying to make the game safe through tackle tech and versus how athletic our players are now? Because our players are like flying through the air, like they're doing crazy stuff that probably they haven't been done before. Like you know what I mean? Like and they're getting accidental head knocks. Doing these crazy moves on the field. Like it sounds like to me it doesn't match the sort of technical aspect. It's not catching up with how athletic these players are. So you got to change the rules again around, because like I said, people are flying through the air and they're bracing themselves and they're crashing into people, and obviously it looks like an accident, but it's not. It's a red card. It's going to give you a red card, but it's just the fact that these players are just like Supermen, and I think they're going to keep on getting athletic over the years. And how much of the tackle tech do you think would catch up with it, or how much it will change
I think
in the future?
My own perspective, tackling is tackling. It's the way you deliver it and the way you coach it and the way you educate your players and the simple foundational fundamentals of your footwork, seeing the picture of whether someone's turning their shoulders or their hips that way. What do you do then? And your eyes are up, because a lot of injuries happen is because either poor tackling, that's probably poor footwork, bad timing, eyes are down, eyes are not up. So it's all those key aspects of tackling, left shoulder with left foot in close to the midline, or as close as possible to connect with the head on the side of the cheek, that whole cheek to cheek sort of, so it's not the lack of education, it's just probably more reps, more things, but challenging them in different scenarios and different ways of running directions. And I mean, the All Blacks, those top end professional players do it anyway. But again, you do that on the other end, they're training how to avoid tackles, how to bump off players, how to, so it's always going to be there. Eh? But if you can, I like to think if we can just nut out those key aspects of tackling, footwork, eyes up, getting in nice dip low where the belly button is, or eyes, and it's just correct shoulder, head's in the right position, then you mitigate all the concussion injuries, all that stuff. But it's I don't think you're gonna get it perfect there. It's always gonna be there because there's different ways of there's the chop tackles, there's a 2-man tackle actions, there's a choke tackle now, so it's all those things where you're trying to avoid players from offloading. So tackling is looking different, and depends on which parts of the field that you want to do chop tackles. Who's doing the chop tackle, inside man, outside man, and then who's rolling out, who's the second man coming in for, all those things. So it can get complicated, but then at the same time,
that's exactly it. The way time with the game of rugby has just made it too technical to the point that, bro, if rugby is played simple, like a ruck's a ruck, it's around the legs tackles around the legs tackle. If you can just simplify the game even more, bro, then the game's pure. Right? That's the best rugby is at its purest, when it's so simple. Because
if you can compare tackling in rugby league, for instance, do you think that's a simpler?
Well, that's where I feel, because I've played both codes and I grew up playing league. So in league, you're tackling from straight out the gate. That's it. Under sixes, you're tackling. It's tackle. But in rugby, it's a ripper. And so they don't have that until 10s.
Yeah.
But if you look at league guys can come off the ground and tackle explosively. But if they're not taught how, because in rugby the game sort of carries on. Whereas in league, you sort of tackle, get them down, you roll away, get up. But whereas in rugby, you sort of if you can go for the ball, You know, that's why Richie McCaw was the best at what he did over the ball, because he knew where he was post tackle. 90% of the time, it's like, fuck, he's already up before the next guy's already in to protect the ball.
But then you got different opportunities in rugby union to get a head knock with in the ruck or
Yeah. And that's
you getting blown
a lot of
over
it's
or-
laziness, man. A lot of it's laziness, because like if you see like outside, like how often do you see an outside back run at a prop? But you know you can keep him far away enough that if he has to reach for you, but you've already got him, mate. Because once you start reaching, that's where you see the gaps on the outside. Because guys are reaching. You know, you turn the ball back inside because they're reaching. But if the hands are just all square, everything's all nice and close, that's just a physical game. It's just straight smash each other, try and steal the ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone has a different style, eh? Like
Everyone
depends
does.
in the countries.
Yeah. I just like to think that the way you coach it is it's simple, safe for your players.
Oh, bro, 100, bro.
Because that's probably but then adjusting to how so you're not flying in. Exactly like what you're saying, flying in. It's like, silly. What, you know, that's jungle rugby styles, you know. So it's just being safe and teaching them, look, you can make a dominant tackle without flying in.
especially with those high balls. When you're jumping to catch it, some of these guys are flying in the air to catch the ball, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Because they eliminated that from the 1A comp, like the jumping in the air for the ball.
Oh, true.
Yeah, you can't jump to contest the ball because of the dangers of landing.
Yeah.
Or the guys coming to contest the ball and like, taking someone out at the feet. So it's like everything's just on the ground now.
Do you think there's some truth in like World Rugby changing rules to make the game safer so that kids can play? Because is there some truth in that where parents are thinking, oh, that's too dangerous for my son, go play soccer,
Yeah.
go
I
play
think,
basketball?
yeah, probably there is some truth, but then there isn't, really. I think the nature of the game is just evolving, eh? Really.
Yeah.
Rugby has evolved so much that it has become so technical now that it's just, they're trying to make it faster. But the whole thing is it's all based on set piece, you know, it's almost like the stop-start. But they're really portraying it as making the game faster and flowing quicker, you know?
I reckon they've stolen a lot of it from league.
Yeah.
Like the 40-20s and stuff, the drop kicks.
50,
And so,
22.
yeah. So it is, there's truth in it, but then I guess it just depends, really. Because you do want to make it as safe. You want to, but again, it just comes down, I think, to the lack of education and coaches, really. And it's no fault in parents volunteering to coach because they're only doing what they know how to do, you know. And so it's not until they're in like little class sessions or, you know, because in Otago, I run the Rugby Smart and the Small Blacks courses in Otago. And so when you go into the sessions, those are the best ones where you're having the coaches that coach Ripper and the 8s up to under 13s. So you're educating them through that to how what sort of share different drills on what tackle, catch and pass, you know, or ruck detail, carry detail, like those different things. And then that's how you build the technical parts where coaches be like, oh, true. Okay, never really thought of it like that. Like, you know, pre-tackle, the post-tackle. You know, how do you roll out safely after the tackle to get yourself in line to make another dominant tackle to be more effective. So it's just those things and then it's no fault on them because they only coach what they know, and also because there's so much resources on YouTube, Rugby Site, Rugby Toolbox, you know, and you click on it and say, oh, that looks like a mean drill, but it's you walk away and say, man, it's a mean drill for going here to 2 partners, 3, you know. Then it's more the delivery.
Yeah.
You know, it's the delivery and the way you facilitate that drill. Because it looks good. I say, man, that's a mean drill. I'm going to run that with the team. But you forget, hang on, man.
How does it fit to a game?
Mate, you know, does it fit with the game that you're trying to do? Also, are you coaching the kids properly? Like, and what terminologies you're using? You know, because, I mean, when you go higher into coaching, and there's different things, terminologies, languages that you're using. You know, I could go and tell the kids chop tackle, you know, choke tackle, but the kids say, choke tackle, choke him, like, you know. But it's like you just say, you make a great tackle, trap, wrap your arms, you know, drive with your legs. It's those things, you package it differently, and so that way, the coaches or parents know. Oh, yep, you know, because one thing's like, or saying the rugby smart stuff of Small Blacks, you know, some coaches use punch through the, you know, through the window when you make a tackle, like they're using those languages, but then we'll ask them, say, okay, what do you think that sounds like when you say punch through? And then as a parent out on the sideline looks, punch. Is he teaching my son to punch? Like, you know, you just got to be careful in those kind of, you know, as opposed to, you can say that at under 21s or first 15, boys need to punch through, dominate that tackle, you know. Or you say that in the under 8s or under 9s.
He's the police on the sideline.
You know, you have the European balance. Oh my lord.
Well,
this is not why I brought my son here. You're teaching him to punch, you know, like, yeah, so it's just doing different things. But yeah, it's
the language changes at that age group.
Changes at that age group, massive. And then it changes when you get up further, you know. You're saying key words and things that just, which I had no clue about until you learn it and say, wow, geez, that's massive.
I loved how you said before about how you use your coaching and as a package, you package it up. When you're coaching at high school in Wellington, like you had a system where you connected with the school and getting the kids to do their work and, you know, connected with the game because it's a club in Otago. What was you had to package it a different way.
Yeah.
So obviously it was in the school.
Massive.
But you intended to change the culture as well, or
yeah.
So what was the process there?
So, so club, I mean, I'm involved with Southern, and so my first year doing club last year, you know, and I was doing the Premier Colts, the under 21s, but the club wanted me to do the Prems with the big dogs, so we got Jamie Joseph, John Leslie, Case Muse. So it was those three all at the club, and the Prems are like, well, you're with us, mate, like, you know. And I was like, holy damn. Like, I was thinking to myself, you know, but then I think that the bonus of that is that I had Jamie there, and honestly, man, those guys are world class, man. Like, you watch, there's like sharks. And I knew for a fact that when I made the decision to go to club, not knowing that Jamie and John Leslie, who's in the Highlanders, Scotland, and in case we're all going to be in that mix, when I made the decision to go club, I knew it was a God thing. But also, when that came on board, I was like, man, all right, Lord, you're pretty smart here, man. This is upskilling me to capture the tools that it's needed to fit what I needed to do. And man, I sat back just watching them, watching Jamie run his stuff. And the thing is, like, Jamie's so world class that it's, you know, technical, and then it's like, but it's the things that you do already, like that I'm already doing, but it's just different in the way he uses it. And so when I was doing it with the club, I just had to try to change the culture. And it wasn't, because coaching down in Otago is different. You got university kids, and you can't go guns blazing like how you would here in Auckland, because silly, you're going to lose all your players. Like, all right, guys, you know, where's everyone?
Yeah.
You know, so because they're into their parties, they're into their house, and so. But at the same time, they're keen to just, it's an outlet for them from uni to come and enjoy a bit of rugby and that. And so that was a learning process for me, because I couldn't approach my same vision that I had with Aotea, even though that's my philosophy and vision. It just had to look different. I couldn't do what I did at Aotea at Southern. You know, I had to sort of look back and think to myself, okay, how does this look now? After 5 years of, you know, it looks different, as opposed to, I could have just said, no, I'm going to do it this way, this way. But I think reflecting on it, okay, it looks different. It's got to be done different, because the cattle I have and the boys I have and the club I'm in is different. And the coaches that I'm with are different too, so massive process. but yeah, first year did club with the 21s and massive learnings from there. Massive learnings because can't do what I did before and expect the same results. It has to be different. And even though we did well, we lost in the semis, but it was one of those good learnings because I know this year I'll definitely take that on board. And then to have guys like John Leslie and Jamie and them, man, that was big guns there. So, jeez. And it was quite pretty privileged because they were telling me, you're taking over the Prems the following, you've got it. You just got to watch and keep learning and back yourself. That's what they kept saying, just back yourself. Back what you have. You got something special. You got something that's quite unique. So that was quite nice to hear those kind of guys say it, because they don't give you compliments. You're either crap, you're crap. And Jamie's quite blunt, so he's just, if he doesn't like you, he won't coach. He won't talk to you, or he'll just say it like, mate, don't need you, get someone else. And I mean, our club, our Prems were the ones that won the premiership down there. So young team, but man, those coaches, it just showed.
How do you feel now about this whole thing, this whole journey you're in? Because like from listening to your story, your coaching journey, it feels like you've been fighting against it all the way. And it's like you almost lost it. Your son comes back and says, "That's my dad. He wants to coach."
Yeah.
And then even now it seems like you need these signs that God has given you.
Yeah.
Keep on reminding you. He keeps on reminding you.
Yeah.
Like, say Lala was one, Jamie Joyce was one. So how do you feel about this direction you're taking? Like, have you accepted it? Like, it seems like this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I have accepted it now. It's taken a few years. I think more because the struggle was probably something deeper in myself. Am I good enough to do it? I never really, played rugby as my main. I played, captain, second 15, and then I was on the bench, first 15, and just watch these guys, and I was more thinking about volleyball. Like, man, I want to smash the spikes that are open, and that was my field of. But I think it was just more deeper inside because I was thinking, man, am I really, am I good at what I'm doing here? But I finally accepted it being down in Dunedin because doing club last year was probably my biggest acceptance of, actually, this is me, and I just thought, man, I've got goals, I've got things that I want to achieve. And because I finally realized, flip, I'm actually good at doing this, then that's when I knew, all right, it's time to turn it up. And it was probably the last couple of weeks of the season, because we went through a losing streak of 5 games, and we were still in the top 4. And I was like, how the hell are we still in the top 4? But it was because just the way things were working out with other teams,
other results,
and then I got sick, and the other guys took it, and then we got a thumping from the defending champions, Dunedin Sharks. They punished us 84-5. But I got there that week. I was sick, but on Saturday I turned up, and I knew, there was no fault on the coach. It was just I knew, and then from that onwards, it was like, okay, we had 2 more games that I need to win, and to make us into semis. Man, I just did those. All right, I need to accept the fact that bloody hell, I'm called to do this, man. This is done. And I did that. Like, as soon as I did that, man, I just ended up taking fully control of everything, because I was the one that I need to collaborate and make sure that my other coaches, need their say, and and I was the head coach, but I was really sort of, okay, I need to help him. He makes sure he has voices in it, his input, man. And I realized those last 2 weeks, I said, nah, hell no, I'm doing this. I'm doing the attack. I'm doing the defense. I'm doing everything. You guys just roll with me. So I talk over everything. I'm doing the game plan, give the content, and then I think that's what really sparked it up. Won that game, won the second game, made the semis, and we played Dunedin Sharks, the team that got thumped 84-5. And because of our video analysis, recorded it, I took it home, man, pick apart the attacker. And I just knew from that moment, as soon as I accepted, I was like, man, I can start seeing clearly what things, and I think, okay, how am I going to trap the attack system with my defense system? So we went to the semis, and that was in the 2 weeks of prior to that game. Man, the boys, they just buy it into the whole defensive system, mate. This is what we're doing. So that week, we just walk through clarity work, walk through our defense system. Everyone understands their roles, who's going where, how are we going to choke them, how are we going to trap them. And then went into that semis, man, we should have won that semis because we went to extra time. We ended up playing 100 minutes. So it was a huge change from that, but I kind of looked back and I thought, man, and my wife said this, she goes, see, you're an idiot. You should have just taken control from the beginning, bloody hell, do you have to wait until you're losing, until you, and I just thought, man, I'm sorry, babe. She goes, gosh, you stay up till 3 a.m. in the mornings and, going through all these systems, but it wasn't until that I finally fully accepted it. And then did Otago 18s, head coach, had 7 coaches under me, and then I approached the same thing. And it was just like different people saying different things of, man, back yourself. Because that's what constantly I kept hearing down there. Will, back yourself. Do you. You know what you're doing. But I just kind of always, it was that fear in me. That thing of, am I going to muck it up? And there was always constant of trying to look for, was it all right? To asking another coach, was it all good? That I, almost belittling and looking down at myself. But from that moment, I said, nah, man, stuff this. Flip, I serve a God that's bigger than these guys. And I've got a coach. He's the coaches of all coaches. That's what I've always believed. Man, my God's my coach. I can attach myself to mentors and, learn from people. But, man, the creator of above, he's the one that's created rugby. So I'm going to go to him and give me the resources to be able to do what I want to do.
That's awesome.
And so that's how I've approached it now. Just like this year coming in, I was like, man, let's go. That's the attitude and mindset. Yep, cool. I don't care about you. I don't care about anyone. Not in a bad way, but just, I believe in myself now. Because I've accepted, I'm going to coach this team. I'm going to go for it. This is the goals that God's given me. And I'll get there when I know it's right. And so, I think me doing that was massive, for myself as well. So it can be humbling, and that, but you just got to reflect there.
Yeah, bro.
And what's right for the team, what's right for my family, and I do. I want to pursue it and get there, but in the right time. The timing, it's beautiful. So, never knew though. I never knew I'll get it, man. Never knew I'll get into this. Yeah, never knew. And I think people even surprised as well. Like, shucks, man, do you even coach there? I was like, what do you say? I was like, I don't know. But, I know, I understand the game now. Just got to keep growing. So keep growing. Yeah.
Coach with Tonga?
Hey?
Coach with Tonga in the future?
That's definitely in my books. That's definitely in my books. If I can, I don't want to say it out loud but it's definitely in my books though. Like I do have a heart for my nation.
How about that TMA for the World Cup? It's gonna look mean. All those players coming back, ex All Blacks coming back.
Man, it's good for the nation, Good for the country as well. So
it's actually an exciting World Cup, I think, next year because it's up in the air, man. I don't know who's gonna win.
Nah, it's good.
All Blacks ain't up there with the.
That's probably the best thing is that the first time in however many years that the All Blacks aren't gonna suffocate, and even the South Africans look average.
I know.
Next to Ireland,
It's the European countries that are picking it up. So.
Yeah, I can't wait to the World Cup. I just want to see what happens. Like, who's gonna make it? What? Because man, I remember that World Cup where all the Southern Hemisphere teams were in the semis.
It was
Argentina,
Oh,
all the championship teams were in the semis,
No, dominating, eh?
and dominating. And I remember thinking, yeah, man, I was proud, man. I was proud of that. But now things have changed overnight. It feels like, especially for Ireland, beating All Blacks early last year, July last year. But who's have you seen the pools for next year, the World Cup?
Nah, not really. I haven't really. Yeah. To be honest, after like coaching, I don't probably watch a lot of. I watch it, but I try to stay out of watching because it's like so full on. Like you're coaching for 10 months, and then when you want to have a break, even during the games, you watch it and you enjoy it, but sometimes your natural instinct
to
is
break it down.
You're picking apart the attack of Ireland and saying, "Oh, geez, what sort of attack system there you like?" Okay, that fire and then the hook at the back, like different. So you start and it's like, and you just kind of just enjoy the game, like stop watching it from a coach's lenses.
I've read that before of coaches how they don't enjoy watching games anymore.
Yeah,
because they can't help but break it down.
But break it down and you get so overcritical. It's like going, man, what is he passing it that way? What's Ian Foster trying to, do? And what's Tota Kefu trying to create? And but just it's a natural. But then again, I think I probably have more empathy for coaches now. Head coaches and just coaches in general, like how they would be feeling if I kind of put myself in their shoe. Like, man, and I understand. It may not be in the extent that they're in. But I understand, like, man, it takes a lot of work and hard work. Because at the same time, you think of those that are sacrificing for you to be there and how hard it is to come up with game plans every week, contents and, all these things. It can be daunting, and it be under pressure as well. So, yeah, I try to avoid it. I just try to enjoy and watch the kids enjoy. If I'm watching the All Blacks, then I watch it then. If not, I just try not to put too much pressure on myself to watch it.
Some of these, because Ian Foster, he's been criticised all year last year, especially after the Ireland game. But he's been criticised before that. Like, can he do it? Because he wasn't a successful Super Rugby coach in the first place. So he was getting bagged. But I remember through the years, like, whoever lost the World Cup will get bagged. Except for Graham Henry, because he came back and won it. But I remember John Hardy. Like, he was the worst. He got the baddest criticism, man.
Yeah, it's because of all the autobiographies that came out after that, eh?
Yeah.
And even some respectable, like, some night-footed guys, eh? Came out of the...
But see, those kind of situations, we don't want any coach to go through, eh?
Nah.
Especially with the fans, eh?
Man, massive. And then the keyboard warriors,
On top, yeah.
Man, just come. I've seen some. I was thinking to myself, man, that's hard, eh? So, yeah. It is. But and it's not just keyboard. You can feel it when, like, you walk past, like, because I do the reps and 18s, and you can feel that tension of, does he even know what he's doing? Like, that kind of stuff. But I was saying it to my kids, and he goes, man, Dad, when you go to your games, your rep games, because it can be quite daunting because you have everyone that's packed. You're playing against South London, packed. And what do you do when you're standing under the post or with your walkie or your earpiece? What do you do there? And I just said to man, it's like when I walk in, it's just all blur, eh? Everything just goes blur. Like I can't even see. The only people I see is my coaching staff on the sideline, my team, the subs, and then just my kids and my wife. That's the only people that I see. Everything else just blur. Like it blocks it out there, and it just helps me. Like, and I don't know whether that's been something that I've kind of, or I don't know, maybe God's kind of given me some sort of supervision. That's like, jeez, because I swear it just goes. So I just told him that, like,
I believe it's because you're playing for something bigger than yourself. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Because even there's been times when I used to play too, and the only voice I could hear was my old man's voice,
Mm.
and that's what I'd always play to.
That's
Like,
right.
if I was like offside or if I was getting up the ground too slow, I can hear him saying, "Get up," you know.
Mm.
And that's the voice you need to hear, right?
Yeah,
Those are the only voices that you need to hear, the voices that matter, like
Yeah.
your wife,
that's right.
kids, mum and dad.
Yeah.
Because yeah, man, no matter what you're going through, especially in like situations where it's out of your control.
Mm.
But yeah, man, it's just listen for that inner voice,
Yeah.
and it'll come, man.
That's
Even if
right.
it's the Lord telling you, "You got this, Bila," you
Yeah.
know.
That's right.
When he's saying, "Well,
Well,
then
you
you're
got
like,
it.
shit."
Remember of those sports movies, with those motivational speeches in the movie, like
Yeah,
get the
nice.
team up.
Yeah.
Man, I remember I'm on this group chat with some of my friends who follow the rugby, and we were talking about who's probably the best coach right now for New Zealand.
Mm.
Like all talks been about Scott Robinson because of Crusaders, and should he be All Blacks coach or whatever. But
Man, right about now, that'll be a good. That's a really good question. Because right about now, when we were at school,
Mm.
your uncle dad, or dad uncle. So the Hamilton boys, official team coach,
Mm.
he's won 9. Was it 9 or 8
Yeah.
back-to-back Condors? Played last 3 against Caston.
Mm.
He used to be a Caston coach. He coached me at first,
Yeah.
and he's won a world. He just won the Senex Worlds,
Yeah.
and he's won. Well, I think it's 5 or 4. So he matches Caston's
Yeah.
New Zealand titles,
Yeah.
and that's
wow.
one guy who
Yeah.
went down there, took some old boys with him to go coach other sports. But
yeah.
if you were to pull up Scott's and Nigel's stuff, head to head
That's
with
it.
the amount of games you play per year, fucking Nathan would have a make
Yeah.
him run for his money, man, because his proof is in the World Cups, in his Senex World titles.
Especially in those grassroots, like, and I think it's one thing I've heard. I haven't spoken to Nige or Hoifam many years, but more you can see he avoids rip stuff because his passion is just for high school first 18.
Mm.
He's proven, and man, that guy could be coaching New Zealand, some professional team.
Because he coached, I
it's-
think he did the secondary schools 1 year, and they did really
That's
well.
right. Yeah.
But then he's done the Worlds. He's done the Condor Sevens.
Mm.
But bro. I never liked him, but fuck, he's got some. I don't know. Let it go. It's 20 years ago, but
Forgive.
I mean, if he turned the volleyball guy into a superstar coach down in Dunedin,
Oh man. Yeah.
But one of the names one of the boys brought up in the chat was Leon McDonald, because the way he turned around the Blues.
Mm.
Because you think about the Blues losing streak all those years,
Yeah.
man. And Leon McDonald comes in, 2 years in the contenders? Or even one, but that's people don't count the
the one we won.
the what's it?
No, we won that one,
Aotearoa.
The
We won that
Aotearoa
one.
one. Yeah.
We won, man.
Yeah. Nah, Blues won that one, of course. They won that one.
But the haters don't count that one.
Yeah.
So, man, but I think he's got a point there, because to turn the Blues around like that,
Mm.
you got to change the culture, and that's probably what he did.
Yeah, I'd say.
Because Blues for a long time, since we won in 2004
Mm.
last time, no identity.
Yeah.
Look how much times we changed our first five. How many first fives we've had
Yeah.
between those years?
But I reckon he done it before that, though. Like, I remember saying on Empty Out the Club, like, when the 1A is doing well and the 1A does really well, like in the top 4, and they hadn't had a top 4, but retaining all the 1A talent in Auckland, that's what will make the Super Rugby more, contestable.
Mm.
Because Akira and that have stayed, like his brother stayed, and then there's a few more that have, like that Waikato winger who played sevens, that Nanai.
Mm.
See, they couldn't keep him because there was too much talent already here.
Satoru Nana.
So when Satoru went, and then they retained a bit more of the other talent that stayed.
Mm.
So to be able, I think Hodgman, the front row, but he's an AB. Yet
Mm.
the front row was like, shit, that's the All Black front row. but they managed to retain some of these younger guys. Like little things like that. I mean, Papa Lee, they retained him. He's straight out of like schoolboy rugby. Just little, that's what I reckon. Did the big U-turn for Auckland Super Rugby is retaining their talent.
Yeah.
Because it reminded me of when Spencer and they had Xavier Rush, they retained their schoolboy rugby, which was Kainu, Sam, Gerald Kothoku, Afoa, and that was straight out of schoolboy rugby. And they won the NPC that same year. And that been a long time in between drinks. Fucking 20 years again, dogs.
20 years.
But some people might think that final last year, last year's final, because Canterbury and Crusaders and Blues, that blowout. But for me, that's a lesson learned, and they'll come back, because there's heaps of years where people get blown out one year and then they win the next year.
Yeah, massive.
So here in NZ,
everything's going up for the Blues. I think this season. No?
Yeah,
I mean they should win if they win through that.
Yeah.
What was it, like 30-point loss or something?
Yeah, they should.
Otherwise, something else is wrong. So how long have you got here until you go back now?
To the 9th.
Oh yeah.
9th of the Sunday. We
Oh,
leave.
yeah.
Oh, is it 9th? 8th, sorry.
that's a long break, dude.
Yeah, we came and then just spend time with family, really. And then get back into work.
Yeah.
Well, I had to start work till the 26th, really, but just sort of give me a bit of time, to re-energize and get back into work. A couple of things for pre-season and all that stuff. So, looking forward to it.
Sweet dog as well.
Man, thank you guys.
No, thanks for coming on, Annie. It's been a pleasure having you, and some gems been dropped down, man. Like, thanks, man. Thanks for coming.
Thank you guys. Thank you. When Letty did mention it, it really did jump on board, because
Was it the way I sold it, Docs, or was it?
No, I think he didn't even have to sell it, because I know Letty, and for Letty's just, he's one of the real ones. He keeps it real, and if he puts his heart into something, I know that. Oh yeah, I'll come and help as well and pour my heart into that as well. But more, I think, just in these spaces, I said that to him this morning, like that I did this West Side Story one. Just a post, I sent it through to the, that was 2 years ago, or a year ago, I think it was. But it takes a bit of vulnerability, and because it's going on air, it's gonna go social media, people are gonna see you and what you say, and I guess for me it's just that, like, okay, cool, I'll jump on board if I can bless someone, or bless a young man, or maybe just people in general out there, not coaches, or just life, really, that look, anything's possible if you can put your head into it, and and go with it, whether you're religious or whether you're not religious. But I'd like to be a part of that, and it's just nice to see the Takaowai, because reconnect. I think that's been, I said that to my wife, like, this trip has probably been more a reconnection trip. And I think the older you get, you start appreciating relationships, because you're not getting any younger, and you're here and you're like, man, and you remember the real ones that was with you when you're out fighting around, and you're wagging classes.
There was a lot of us like yourself back in school, though.
And it's those ones, and that's where you kind of appreciate these moments more. So just honor you guys, man. Thank you guys for the opportunity, really, to share the story, and just I really love the time, really, and thank you guys.
No, it's all good, eh? And I read your West Side Story.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. This thing about writing, eh? The process of writing, like getting your thoughts on paper, because you're actually thinking, like, as you're doing it, you're actually thinking about what you're gonna write down, because you'll delete, come back, think of more stuff,
Yeah.
say it better, blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
that's a real powerful
It is
thing to do
massive.
because especially what West Side Story is all about, like putting
Yeah.
yourself out there,
Mm.
talking about your life story. Because, but I think the writing part of it is important too because that will help you, like
Yeah.
get all these thoughts together and
Massive.
put it down and get it out there, which
Mm.
is, which I haven't really appreciated much the writing.
Yeah.
But lately I have.
Yeah.
And I've been doing a lot of writing
Mean.
lately too. So,
Nice.
but for me, it's that process to get my thoughts
yeah.
and put them out there. But nah, man, thanks for the West Side Story, man, and thanks for coming on the podcast and giving us the audio version of it,
First one
or
for
the
the year.
coaching one at least.
First one for the year, bro. So, humble ducks.
Thank
Appreciate
you
you,
guys.
doggo.
Safe trip home, brother.
Oh, thanks, gentlemen. Thank you.
Malobida.